Down the pub.
Yes, dear. Too much information. Right, evening all. We make a start. If I can ask you all to mute, please.
Hello.
If you can all mute yourselves.
I'm just, hang on a sec.
Is it a bad time?
No, hang on.
Any newbies? That means no.
Right, let's get going. I could do with some speakers for next week. Even just 3 photos or something. Just to help me out.
Go on then, put me in.
You ain't got to bung your name on a summit, anything. Right, the first one here. This is for Steve for last week. Mention me gravy. Beef dripping at me joint. And that's where I get me it from Lidl, me gravy.
I thought you forgot about me, mate.
No.
Thank you.
No, you're a good man. Right, this is Delphinium. I'm from Jeffrey. All my plants I put out last time, you remember last week. Because we had no rain since then, every 2 days the new plantings are having a drop of water, i.e. to look after them. Couple not muted, thank you. Got to get me wine sorted out now, we got a show on. That's what we're doing. Right, dead ending, any plants, any flowers in the garden. If you're deadhead, you get more flowers on them, that's common sense. So if you haven't got the time, just go around and take the old stems off or whatever. One of Austin's rose, meaning them scented. When he comes out, it's a beautiful scent. He just started opening up now. That dropper, we had a good drop of rain last night again, which was needed because those few days of hot sun took it out of him. And now we got the warmth again, hopefully.
Need the thing to go to get you in.
No more. Turn your speakers off, please. If you can mute yourselves. House plants, when we got a nice day, then come out and they get a good watering as well. Starting off with a fine and then giving them a good watering after. Carrots, which are in the top tunnel, them are watered regularly as well. There's just one end of the tunnel. I've still got cover on. I need to plant out there. We'll come on to that again in a bit. This is me, if you remember. See me gladius just coming through. This is my raised bed which I had out to skip. I'd like to get a few more of them. With this warm weather now, I think this was took 2 days ago. Loads of ladybirds about. All I do is pick them up with an old leaf or something and I take them in the greenhouse and put them on the plants in there. Just in case I do get any aphids, then they can have a field day. Right, electric propagator. Luckily I've got an electric up to the greenhouse. But I've finished with that now, so it's been cleaned and I'm just drying it out now. And that'll be stored away as it is there. Top trench, which I haven't used this year, but that is ideal for me my cormlets and giving them a feed, weekly feed again. If you remember last week, I was taking out all the bedding plants of there, bluebells and everything else, and them white little flowers, which were poisonous to the hound. So I've cleared all that lot, and that's the last of it, which will give room for everything else. Right, this is last Monday we had a family reunion, first one for a year and a half. This is me nieces. If you just look at that one there, Alstroemeria, there's a sun trap there garden. I get her a plant 2 years ago, and that's in flower, as you can see quite a bit is. Here's the little chap. That's our 2 lads, Aaron and Ben. But it was a Boston day, nice and hot. And that's what you call a prawn. 10 quid in money. And the taste was superb. But that was a good afternoon. Only had 2 bottles of plum because I was driving. But that lasted all day. And the hound in the shade. And the raspberries just coming through. That's what a sun trap it is. Good day. Right, back on the plot. And this is in me tunnel. Grapevine has started putting a bit of meat on now. And so I've got to sort the shoots out and everything else. So that one there, which I've chopped off, as you can see, he's come out. And there I've got my little grapes on the end of that one. So that's where I've chopped in there. And my new shoot, which will be going across my wire, I'm now training him to go across there. Right, these lot have got to come off because we're getting the warm weather. I don't want my worms to cook. Have a perv inside. The worms in between my carpets I've dropped in, obviously. Just having a perv of the ones in use. Right, carpets are coming off and the black plastic, which I'm taking off there, and they should have white plastic from the year before. This is ready for the summer, and that will repel the heat and the light, so my worms do not cook. There's the original one, which I put in white emulsion on, and then my white plastic fell off the back of a lorry, if you remember, and that is the bit of muck mixed with leaf mould. And there's worms in there, which tells me it's breaking down well. So that's them three done. As you can see, the lids are not completely down, so there's air getting in that way, and from the door at the bottom. And I did the other three as well, so that was it. The 6 of my bins I've done now. So my door underneath I can just take off, and it's a good brew in there. And that's what I'm still using now as a drying medium. And I also put a white patch on the door itself. Mate Dave from Chesterfield sent me these photos. I don't know where they got them on, but that is a snip and a half. Look at the width of that at the top. Look at the size of his wazin, or his head. Another one of onions. I don't know, if you're on here Dave, you can come in and explain them. Whose onions they were. I know there's a little write up on the bottom.
Yeah, me mate.
Yes, Dave, mate.
This was 2 years ago, this photograph. It's what I managed to pick up. And it's up in Kelso, where the Kelsey onion was being grown. I'll have to look it all up another time, and I'll give it all information about it, how it come about, who bred it. But these were all grown up in fields up there and then used for seed, put down for seed later. But I'll send you a piece of information about it, mate, when I get time.
That's a good harvest, that is, isn't it? Bloody Nora. I can remember the onion coming out the Kelso originally. Yeah. And that's one of your little chaps in it, Dave.
Yeah, that was just to say be careful with all your netting. A person just topside me on the allotment. They asked me if I'd go up and have a look. There were grass snake in, which I got out. But you've got to keep checking it. When you've covered everything, just keep checking around your netting and make sure there's nothing trapped in the netting. That's how that were a grass snake. The only trouble with them when we freed that, they let off the vilest smell I've ever smelled. They're terrible. But grass snakes are not harmful to you. They're not harmful to your garden. In fact, they eat a lot of things, slugs and what have you. So they had it out. They're not going to hurt anybody. But just check around your netting.
Good man. And that's your going on, mate.
That were a bit of fun, Mick. I said I just harvested my carrots. Just taking it to Sainsbury's.
Just taking the pea there, is he? Can you read that top bit?
Did I send you that?
Nah, I bung that one in.
Alright.
That's weed, that's why. I saw this one in a post office, top of Colligate, for the kids, camel balls. You never had nothing like that when I was a kid. I don't know how they get away with it. I like it though, got a sense of humour. Right, this is me in the end of the greenhouse. That is Arkley, he lives next door. He's about 87 now, I think. Might be a bit older. But he was down there for about half an hour, and then he got up. He says, Mick, I wish I'd took notice of you 30 odd years ago when you put your raised beds in top of the garden. He said, that's what I want now. He said, this is killing me. And if I'd have had them straight away, I could have carried on any road up. That's why I hadn't. Right, I've got another nice little pot here to bung something in, but there's no drainage holes in the bottom. So what I do, put my own drainage in, and then put an extra bit of vermiculite in with the compost. Put him right up the front of the toe of the shoe, and then I'll just put one little bedding plant in. So I've got my watering can and another one in the boot. It's just so much extra down by the patio. Right, Crocosmia and Calla lilies. Liz from South Wales sent me these earlier on. I've got a couple of gaps, so these are going out. Nice white roots, that's what I was going to see. Bit of mica under his Irish, and then bung him out. And there's me Calla lily. I think there was 3 of these. But obviously when the sun's off them, good watering. Now my tough ball onions, I've got a small cane on, as you can see there. These are being replaced, and with obviously a longer cane. Here's a smaller, plus them having 3 clips on. Keep them nice and straight. There's quite a few prickling shallots being taken up. In fact, there's only a few left. Any judge, well, the NVS judges have a 30mm ring, as you can see there. If I'm judging this show, the shallot has got to pass through it, meaning if you roll that with one hand and the shallot passes straight through without pushing through or anything, it's got to go through on its own weight. And the closer you can get to that 30mm, the better. That's what a judge is looking for, which is hard because everybody's in the same boat. And most classes are for 12 shallots. We have to go by the schedule. But with ours, we have a class who's 2 large shallots. We'll come on to that later on. So my straws are doing well in my basket here, and that's been left out. The bougainvillea, because the weather's been good. And the 2 little chaps, them have been left out as well. Top of the garden. Our first speaker tonight, Claire from France. Claire, am you with us?
Bonjour, madame.
Claire, if I can't get a signal, which I couldn't get one last week.
She's dodged you, mate.
Claire, I'm gonna I've got to talk through it. If you can't get a signal last week and again this week, then you might not get one again next week. So I'm going to talk through. By the time you do get a signal, then we should have an update on all this lot. It should have been grown. So basically, it's got a good piece of land I've got to waffle my way through. And I put the beds in, as you can see here. And then Andy, hubby, put this wheat suppressant down, as you can see in there. And then on top of that, I placed 2 more beds. So you can still walk around and get to the middle of these beds either side. So the beds are filled in. I think this is something like shavings or sawdust. Shavings, I think. Yeah. Probably can't get no wood chip, but it's a natural product, so anything like that be no good round our way with the winds. But as you see, they've already got stuff in growing away. And they've got there the deterrents with a marigold, yellow marigold. So there's a nice little patch there, nice and flat. Only trees on this side, and there's the tunnel that side. I know they've got quite a bit of ground, and it looks like it's all fenced in yet. So they've either got a problem with deer or rabbits, something like that. It's fenced in as well. Some of the stuff they're putting in could be some type of brassica or something. Right inside the tunnel, raised beds either side the tunnel as well, and there's like a little staging area. Obviously working from waist height, no bending. You gotta think of everything. Make it easier for yourself. As you can see there, they look like brassicas are. And them do. Tomato ready to go out. And they've gone out there. So it looks like there's some outside toms and indoor toms as well. And watering aid, upturned plastic bottle into the ground, going down to the roots. So that saves watering a lot. All you do is water in the bottle. Lettuce, them look nice, as we can see there. Something we don't eat that too much of, salad. I suppose we ought to eat more, but straws and all, they've started turning. As you see with pots like this, especially overhanging, there's no way that the slugs and stuff are going to get up with them. And also, if you top dress your bed, exactly the same as a raised bed, in a pot as well with straw, it'll keep the fruit that is on the top nice and clean. There's no soil markings going to come off and anything like that. Tom's on already. Don't forget, this was a couple of weeks ago now. It's probably been picking them now. And that one is some sort of moth, if anybody can recognise the chap. I did find out, but having a memory like a quagmire. And that is an orchid. Is it a bee orchid? Anybody recognise it? That rings a bell. Anybody recognise that?
I think it is.
Yeah. And beautiful nature in it. Look at them. Superb. I put a few of these photos on a few years ago. I got about 12. But it's fascinating. Nature. Superb.
Thank you, Claire.
Right. Thank you for that, Claire. Although you were here, you was in sense. At least you put your bit on. And hoping we'll get an update on you for a couple of weeks' time. So, Claire and Andy, thank you for that.
And Dave.
And Dave, you've ordered that bit. Right, grow more. If anybody, if I remember a couple of months back now, I put them, explain the NPK about food, feed and whatever for different things. If it's too much hassle and you ain't got time to do it, which most people ain't, because they're still at work or whatever, just don't forget the grow more, which I mentioned, is 777 in NPK, so it's a general purpose, so it's a balanced feed basically, and I've just used that on everything. We'll go flog it, we flog it loose to our training sheds. Well, that's a bagged up 3k for £3. But you just sprinkle it exactly the same as a pelleted chicken muck, and you put that on everything, fruit, veg, everything. There's me blue drop blueberry. This is my 3rd year I've had him. This will be my 1st year with fruit on, hopefully. Hoping that is fruit. Right, this is the front of the house, our little border. And these lot were, well, they need help holding up with some canes. So I caned all them lot. And that is now, after the rains we've had, you'll see this photo again later on. But that rain we had, which was overnight, last night or during the night, which is good in the sense that it was a fine rain and could go in and soak in. And now we got the warmth back in again. But it'll look better on the next photo. Well, the one we'll see later on. Right, back up the back garden, the tunnel ends here. Now I took all that rubbish out, i.e. bluebells, whitebells and that. Things are starting to come in through, I can see them. Like that bit there, we zoom in on him. That was a day. I couldn't remember what was in there, but it's a dahlia. And it's a little pom-pom, little red one. As soon as I recognised the leaf, then I realised, yeah, red pom-pom, your brain going into gear. So although he was left in, and you're supposed to get him up, I left the chap in anyway, so I've got away with him. Still planting out. When I do get a gap, there's another lily gone in there. Right, if you remember me lime props last year, I put the black-eyed Susies round, and they climbed up these wires, and they got about 3/4 of the way up the poles, and they looked good. They looked effective because I hidden the poles. Now that's my black-eyed Susie where I picked them out. So all I'm doing here, I brought him out to have a look if they self-seeded or whatever from last year. If they come up, I don't know. But there's nothing there, so I had a bit poke around, planted out. Now because that lime prop has got a really great weight of concrete on him, cement, and then I've got slabs here and here. The only bit of ground I've got is that bit there. Nice bit of white roots, bit of mic under them, so I've had to plant the 4 of them there, and then I've got to train them over that way, obviously. Right, my runners I put out down the plot. This was a couple of weeks ago with me 1 sweet corn. Only need 1. Only feeding me and the missus, not the street. When I go past him, I'll tap it once the combs are on there, help pollinating. I haven't touched these, and they're all clinging onto the cane themselves. And they're now about 1/3 of the way up. So I've done that themselves. Right, my last bit of bedding, which are going out, obviously gaps. Oh, look at that. Now, what's this all about?
Way.
Where's my worm? Where's my worm? Nick and Jenny, I've got to get in touch with you too about your winnings from last week. So we'll kick off here. Yeah, I'm all on tonight, all your names are on. I didn't put these on till 10 to. Ooh, Dave.
Just missed me.
Roland.
Put
Right,
it back, Mick. I've had to already. Put it back.
Good man, good man. I was just going to tell you that was the holiday.
Colligate.
Andrew. That's good, I ain't got to post that one. Right, that's one. Nigel, you're trying something, are you, mate?
Put it back in me.
You say my prizes are shit.
You can do my lottery numbers next week.
What again? Stick it back, mate. I've had 2 as well, so.
Hello.
Nigel.
Where's Paul?
I know.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah, it's Paul's turn.
They must have some money, these guys. Especially that Nigel Jukes.
David Bradley.
Will he?
Just on the.
Right, back onto me climbers. These are what I had off Keith a while back. Then there's even flowers on it. If I can zoom in on there, you see little red flowers coming on. All I've got down, I've got my wire across the halfway down the fencing and a wire across the top. And I've just got a bit of string. I'm just extending that one because they've climbed to the first bit of string and now they've started going on the top of there. And these are the watering. couple of days ago before we had the rain, just in case we didn't get no rain. This one I bought last year, I don't know what the name of it is. It's got like a little dark red flower with a yellow thistle on the end of it. But all I'm doing is now I've got a new growth on it. All the old timber or wood that is on it, I'm taking that off. And then I've tied him in upright. As you can see, he's gone to the top wire. So that's something else I haven't lost. You always lose something every year, and something else you're out. Right, these here are my last of my corms. I've got nowhere else to put them. I'm all out in the plot. I've done all my pots up the top of the garden. But I thought I ain't going to waste them, so I'm going to put them in the borders as well. Like either sides of my delphiniums, because when them die off or die down and they're finished flowering, then all I do is cut back right to the base, meaning there's going to be a bit of a gap there. Steve, you got your hand up, mate?
You know, if you don't plant them corms,
Yeah.
are they scrapped? You took them away.
Well, I'm already spurting.
So are they rubbish? Can't you save them till next year?
Nigel, can you come in there, mate?
Once they started shooting, it's a bit late, really. If you thought you'd got too many and you weren't going to have room for them, what you'd have to do is try and keep them dormant for that extra season. So get them somewhere really, you know, sort of 2-3 degrees and keep them there all year, without letting them form any root nodules on the bottom or any shoots on the top. So once they have actually had a bit of warmth and they've woken up from the winter sleep, you've got to use them or lose them, really.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nigel.
No worries.
Thank you, Nigel. So I am bunging them out either side of the delphiniums. So at least I've got something when they die back. And you see the shoots on the top. So I'm going to bung them in and then just leave a label just to remind me where I've put them. So if I start weeding or something later on, or because that's Ostromeria, so he's going to get a bit bigger. At least I know where the gladies are. As you can see there, the labels are there. But all of them lot went in. Right, second speaker tonight, Keith.
Yeah,
Are you there, mate? Boston.
yeah,
Are you all right having questions going through? If anybody's got any.
whatever you want, mate.
Good man.
Right, that's just corner plot. That's the rhubarb, which I dug up and split last year and put it in, and gave it a really good covering of manure and whatever, and it seems to be absolutely thriving this year. So really pleased with that. And that's just down, look down my right hand plot, and the bit of land to the right hand side is a plot that been taken out of commission because there's so many roots from the trees on the common and that. So that's just the rhubarb. Next one, Mick. That's just viewing of the new shade structure which I've built for some chrysanthemums this year. Put the wind protection around the outside, and I'll put a cover on the top when the chrysanths that I've planted out show a bit of colour in the bud. I'll then cover it up. Oh yeah, there are just a few Hawkesbury Wonder dwarf beans that I've popped into one of the raised beds and just given them a mulch of some rotted manure, just trying to keep it in with as we're forecast another 10 days of weather with no rain down here in the south, so it's going to be quite dry. Although we did have 24 hours of rain on Tuesday. They're the chrysanths inside the structure, settled in, so they'll just be left to settle in, put some roots before they get any further water or anything from me. Strawberries in the polytunnel. Got eight hanging pots in the polytunnel. So they've started ripening up now, and just below that there's a few there. Some brassica. They're the flower sprouts, which I've got to find a home for, a space on the allotment. Got some whisperers, Mick. And
can you mute yourselves, please, if you haven't done already? Cheers.
that's first half dozen strawberries. That was just before I went on holiday. The first half dozen. I don't know what the variety is. They were just given to me. Whisperer's still there, but never mind.
I
Those
can't
are,
choose it is from here.
yeah, never mind, mate. There's some stump-rooted carrots. Now, below that top layer of compost is when I called out the long root barrels and the stump root barrels, all the sand and compost from last year, I just chucked into this half barrel, topped it off with some compost and sowed some carrots just to see, because there's a couple of guys who tried it last year and got some reasonable success in growing them just in a very gritty mixture. So just I thought, rather than waste it, I'll try it and see what happens. But they're a lot bigger than that now. Yeah, they're my runners that are out. They started going up the canes now, and down the outside edge I've put some small red sort of little gem type lettuce, so they're up and out before the beans get too big, so it just makes use of a bit of space. But they're growing really quite well now. Right, that's the rhubarb is on the, you can see just the outside leaves, bottom right hand corner. So that's to the left, the plot going down, and then my other plot on the other side of the pathway. So in those beds, the first one is there's some parsnips. The next one further down is there's some Swiss chard and some spinach, and then some gladioli in the next one. Then
can I just stop you there, Keith? Mick,
yeah, sure.
Mick, can you just mute everybody, then unmute Keith?
Sorry about that, Keith. It won't me.
I don't know how to do it.
I've put a
Somebody
comment.
whispering constantly and
It's distracting.
annoying.
Very distracting.
I don't know how to do it.
They're talking now as we're talking.
Shut your gobs.
Whoever's whispering, can you mute yourself, please? Yeah, usually somebody can see who it is. I don't know how to find out who it is.
You've got a rogue in there, Mick.
I know.
Neil Hans, could it be you?
Right, it's gone quiet now. Keith, carry on, mate, please.
Okay, mate, yeah. As I say, the first bed is parsnips, which stick in their heads through quite nicely.
Yep.
Next one is Swiss chard and some spinach. Next one is gladioli, some in there. And the next bed, just before there, Mick, yeah, that's it. They're all my cormlets that, well, not all of them, but a load of cormlets. So I put those out there. Then the one with the polythene on the sides, that's just where it was an old fruit cage, and I've just sheltered it up because I've got some juice in there for 8 long parsnips, which I'm trying in there. And just the other side to the left are the 2 tunnels that I've got. Okay, Mick. That's the under that bit of shading, a bit of polythene covered tunnel. There's some parsnips and I'm trying to get some long roots. They're about 4 foot long, those, so they're growing quite nicely. So I had a little look and there is something under there, so it's they are growing okay. So quite pleased with those. Okay, Mick. That's inside my fruit cage. Made a new fruit cage this year. That's just a row of gooseberries that I took those from all hardwood cuttings about 3 years ago. So I've got a row of gooseberries there, which are going quite nice. They've actually got some small fruit on. I checked this morning, so they're all right. Quite pleased with those. That's my blueberry, one of them. Got good flower on, so he's growing quite well. So hopefully, with him being in the fruit cage, I should get some fruit, keep the birds off from eating them all this year. So quite pleased with that. So that's okay. Yeah. Okay, mate. Right, that's in my front garden. Just a nice deep red acer, which is growing quite nice. I just chop the top every year. I just take a bit of the spindly growth off the top, just to stop him getting too big. But he comes back every year. He's absolutely gorgeous, really nice. Next one, Mick.
Could I just ask, but sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no problem, Colin.
Could I just ask, it's either Robert Guest, David Bradley or Neil Hands. Could they mute, please?
Well, it's not David Bradley because I'm muted. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, sorry, but
It says you're not, David.
it
It
doesn't
was.
say that you're muted.
It's red again now.
And also Robert Guest is unmuted, and he has been coming on flashing yellow. Is Robert Guest there?
Have a look.
Well, there's somebody still whispering.
Robert Guest.
It's gone quiet now.
I got none of that, Jerry. None on it.
It's all gone quiet now, so you're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Mick.
No.
Back again.
It's there again. Robert Guest has come up. Is Robert Guest listening? I don't.
Robert the Guest, are you listening or what?
Can Mick mute him?
I'm trying to. I've got her up and having a look at it.
Go, I'll throw him out the meeting.
You can't find him.
Took him out the meeting, Mick.
I'm not sure he's listening to us.
I'm not.
Keith, you got to carry on, mate, till we can sort this out.
All right, mate. Right, sorry, that's front garden.
Sorry.
Right, just go back. Yeah, right. The little yellow acer in the pot, I bought that about 5 years ago. It was 50p from B&Q. It was a small little 3.5-inch pot. It was about 8 inches high. So I bought 2 of them, put them in, and they've grown, and they're absolutely beautiful. So I thought it's my sort of best ever bargain, that. And then some hostas in pots, and I'm just about to clear the bluebells round the edge, but that's just a front garden. Yes, Mick. Oh yeah, that's just one of my hostas, which was taken picture. I took the picture before I went on holiday 2 weeks ago, and that is about 3 times the size now. The warm weather and the rain we've had has absolutely gone berserk, but that's really nice, a sort of real pale green. Okay, mate. All right, that's flower of, it's called a Butylon Suntense. It's a pale lilac flower I've got in my back garden. Yes, Mick? Have you got the next one? I don't know if it's of the big tree. All right, sorry. That Suntense, the pale blue. Sorry, I just talked about the one before, the pale blue. I grew that from seed about 8 years ago, and it is now, I'm just looking at it now, it's about 10 foot high, and it is absolutely smothered in flowers. And what I do is end of the year, I cut it down by a third. And then in the spring, when it starts to shoot again, I cut it back again, and it puts on 6 foot of growth every year, and is just absolutely covered. Beautiful, beautiful flower. Now that little Acer is a seedling, self-sown seedling off of that red one in my front garden. Every year I get 15 or 20 plus of those just fall, you know, self-sown in the gravel. I saved some seed last year and sowed it and tried to grow them myself, and I got one out of about 40 seeds. But nature does it so much better than we do, and as I say, I get loads of those every year. And I think the yellow one has dropped some seed last year, because I've got one pale leaf, and what I do is I go through them and I try and pick out anything that's a slightly different colour or leaf shape and save them and grow them on. Okay, Mick. All right, they're my 250 gram onions, Vento. They're growing away quite nicely. Quite pleased with those this year. I grow them all under the mesh. All right, they're my cormlets. There's a Singular Beauty cormlet supplied by Mick, very gratefully received. So they're growing very nicely. And I put them in rows. I put the biggest ones near the labels and the tiny ones going away. And basically, the big ones came up quicker, seemed to me, and then slowly the smaller ones have come up. But they're coming on. They're coming on quite nicely. Quite pleased with those. Oh right, yeah, they're some cauliflower, Merton, which are growing, and they've grown really well. The material I cover them with, I'm not sure if you put the next photo in, Mick, which is the material. It's a thin plastic. Sorry, right, yeah, they're growing next to it. It's a thin plastic, very tinted green, which got holes about 1 inch diameter in it. And I put those lettuce and that is Southern Giant mustard under, and I put those out in March, and I've been replanting and put it under that plastic, and it makes a lovely little microclimate under there, and they've been growing on really, really well, and I've been cropping those lettuce. That's that winter density, so it's quite a hardy lettuce. But they've been under the plastic and they seem to thrive under there. So it's quite a good material. Next one, Mick. That's the material. It's, as I say, tinted green, breathes through the holes, doesn't get too hot because the temperature's coming out, but it works wonders, so I'm really pleased with that. And someone gave that to me because they didn't want it, so I thought I'd try it, and I'm really pleased with that. I think it's quite a good product.
Nick, got your hand up, mate. Got a question?
Yeah, you probably answered the question for me. I was going to ask, where'd you get it from?
I have seen it on. Mick, did you put the picture up of the actual product, the outer casing that I took?
Yeah, I think that comes up in a bit.
Right, okay, mate. I just Googled it, and it came. It's available. It's about sort of that piece is about 10 meters long by 2 meters wide, and it was about $9.99, something like that. As I say, hopefully the next picture it will give the name of it. But there we go. Yeah. That Haxnick's Eco Green Propagation Blanket, and I used it just as a over the hoops as a mulch, and it works absolute wonders. So I'm really pleased with that. So I'm going to get some more for next year.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Is this new, Keith?
No, I think it's been around for a while.
Oh.
Yeah, as I say, yeah, 33 foot long, basically 6 foot wide, soft green tint, aeration holes. And it's very lightweight, and the products just push it up. There's no weight to it, and I just put some little pegs I put it over the hoops, just pegged the side down, and left them to it.
I must
And
admit.
they seem really
Good.
happy under there.
Yeah,
Nigel,
ideal
what
for
you
the
on, mate?
spring.
Just a quickie, Keith.
Yes,
when you
Nigel.
get that plastic, do you find you still have to water, or does the moisture run down the soil back into the soil?
I put those in, and I watered them when I put them in, put it over the top, and I never watered since.
Right.
I just left them to it. Any rain obviously hits the top a little bit, goes through the holes, but you know, I think with a good mulching underneath around your plants, it looks after itself.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, right, yeah. When we were on holiday, we went to RHS Rosemore in Torrington in Devon, and I always go and look at their vegetable garden, which is really nice. And these are just a few pictures of that. That's just some espalier fruit trees up against a fence and some stepovers in front. And I was just amazed at how far in front their sort of garden was in certain areas where, because they got a super microclimate down there.
A lot warmer.
Yeah, it was amazing. But some of the stuff was just incredibly in front. Unbelievable. Right, Mick.
Steve, got your hand up, mate. Question.
Where did you say that polythene was bought from?
You can get it online if you just Google that Hacksnicks Eco whatever. It immediately comes up online. You can buy it online, no problem. I was given that because the person who had it didn't want it.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Yeah, that's just part of the all raised beds, or most of the raised beds around there at Rosemore. Quite a nice picturesque veg garden. So they parsnips in the raised bed in the centre, and you can see how big they are. They must have been 12 inches. They were really quite sizable, those. Okay, Mick. There they go. They're the parsnips. Really, I mean, everything just seemed to be so far in front, but totally understandable. That was part of their carrot bed, all growing well, all nicely tidy. Not many weeds to be seen. Yeah. Lettuce. I mean, they're quite a nice size. No covers or anything over them. All very clean. Mixture of red lettuce, green lettuce. So all brick paths between. And that's not a bad bed of lettuce, really. I wouldn't mind that in my garden. They were quite good. Their shallots, different. They had about 4 or 5 different types of shallot varieties that they were growing. That was inside their greenhouse. Tomatoes, bowls of cut and come again salad, lots of other bits and pieces that they're growing in there. Next one, Mick. There we go, another bed of lettuce. They get through a lot of lettuce down there. Double rows of red green. So yeah, that's obviously got a wall round part of the garden. So fan trained fruit trees. All looks very nice. The spuds are up, all looking healthy. It is a lovely garden. Nice tunnel there. Nothing growing up the outside yet. Just lots of flowers, foxgloves, and that growing up the. They got planted. Some quite nice sort of natural supports for peas. So they do. Keep it going. As I say, some more. I think some spinach, brassicas. Looks like broad beans there. Yeah, crimson flower broad beans. So that's the peas. That was in. They have one behind one section. They have a very small inside that wooden picket fence. They have a tiny little allotment that's sort of set out like it was going back to the sort of 50s. It really is quite nice. It's quite a nice little feature. Next one, Mick. That's it. That's a little shed. Everyone has a good little wonky shed, and they just like it was like Peter Rabbit bound a little picture of it's a little Peter Rabbit hiding in the middle, a little model right in the middle of the picture, in amongst the I don't know what that is there, and then on the side of the shed was a blue, which was supposed to be Peter Rabbit's jacket and shoes were hanging down there as if he'd been caught, and so that was all sort of done on Mr. McGregor's thing. And then these Lamanthes, poached eggs plants, but were all out in full flower, all round the garden. So as I say, they were quite well advanced from some areas. All right, that's in my back garden. Orange azalea, really best it's flowered this year. I was really pleased with it. That's come out really well. So that's quite a nice one. Oh, right, they're my parsnips, so they're nowhere near as big as the ones at Rosemore. But that was all from self-saved seed that I've saved last year. Just a couple that went to seed, and I left them and collected the seed and had really good germination off those. So that was quite good. They're just for eating. That's just gladioli bed. They're all the that's on the end of the plot there. All the ones that either get really big or I can't fit them into my other bed, or I lose the labels or whatever. So I put them all in there, and we cut those quite regularly for the house. So I don't mind cutting them off that. That's one of my raised bed. That's got the chard and spinach, got peppermint chard. Oh, there's a bit of beetroot in there. Yellow chard at the back, and the front 3 plants you see is a peppermint chard, pinky striped stem chard. So they're quite broad beans, growing well. They really appreciated the 24 hours of rain we had on Tuesday. It was really nice, sort of persistent, not too heavy, not too light. And then the warmth and everything has really started shooting up at the moment. Okay. Oh yeah, my stump carrots, I've thinned those out this week. They grew quite a bit more than I thought they would do while I was away. But I've got those. That's about a 3 foot high. I think there's 72 in there. And I've got Enviromesh round the outside and across the top. So it's all sort of encased in there. So I gave those a good weeding and thinned them down to two this week. So hopefully they'll produce something.
Do you thin them down by cutting them off with scissors?
Yeah, just snip them off at ground level. I don't like the pulling because disturb the the ones you want to save. And when I used to pull them out, you think, right, I'll pull them out, and you've just caught a leaf of the one you want to save, and you end up with nothing, So I learnt my lesson, so I now just snip them off with a pair of scissors at ground level and leave them to it.
Good man.
They're my long carrots. Now I don't know. I always put one in the middle, but people tell me you shouldn't put one in the middle. I don't know why. Seems a waste of a good spot to me, but we'll see if anything comes out this year. I've had they're the blue barrels. They're on a base of about 18 inches. So there's a good 4 foot there. So I don't expect to get anything well beating, but I enjoy growing them as a bit of fun. Taters, they're all quite nice. I heard got a message yesterday that Bonnie won't be available from JBA Potato. That Bonnie won't be available next year, or Maxine. So there's not going to be any seed next year, so I might have to. I've got both. I've got Bonnie and Maxine in there, so I might have to save a bit of seed. And Lady Crystal's going to be in short supply as well. So I don't know the reasons why. Rhododendron in the garden. It's flowered really well. My wife bought me that from Woolworths many years ago, when Woolworths existed as one of those you get in a packet with a plastic front. Right.
Brilliant, Keith. Good
All
man.
right, mate. No problem.
Sorry about the interference.
That's all right. No.
Can we
More
run it
questions for Keith, please, while we got hold of him.
Can we run it again next week?
No, another same.
Sorry, I missed that.
Sorry, Keith. I was just saying, can't we run it again next week because I missed the first half.
I don't know.
Watch it on YouTube tomorrow.
Oh, okay, and then I'll get the interference on there. No problem. Thanks, mate.
No problem. Anybody got any questions for him?
No.
Thank you, Keith.
All right,
Good man.
Pleasure.
Right, look, it's still on, Keith. Look, these are my climbers. What he sent to me. That one is evergreen. If my brain serves me well, and I've strung him down as well, and he's climbing well up there. So I'm still getting away with him. Right, my mate should have come up from down south to pick these up. 2 sweet corn, both got the flowers on them. So I'll give them to a mate, and I've replaced them just in case he does come up. This is a basket which our little one took during the week. He's got a sweet pepper in the middle and 2 trailing tomatoes. So he's took that out of the way. So slowly I'm clearing the greenhouse out. Right, that end of the tunnel, top of the garden, I've got a plant out there. So I've lifted the cover. Obviously, because it's been dry for a while, there's a few ants about, so I've given them a good dosing, sort them out. I've got 3 onions to put out, exactly the same pot size. I'll put them in the positions I want them. Planted spare
Just go
pots.
back, mate. Can you just go back one slide, mate?
Yep.
What's that black box in the walkway?
There.
Yes.
On the soil warming cable. That's me black rod with thermostat.
Okay.
So the same pot size, what the onions are in, they go in, obviously. So when I do take the onions out, they fit snugly into there. Luckily, I need 2 onions for one of our classes for our show. Luckily, Mark down the plot, he gave us 3 of his onions. Good lad. Otherwise, I'd have had none whatsoever. So all I need to show out of these is 2 out of the 3. Bit of mycondrium as normal. That'll do me. Nice white thick roots. Bung them in upright, and I'm putting the flags, if that makes sense. I'm going that way, not across each other, so them leaves knock into the next one. You might see better on the next one. Right, once these are put in the hole, then the soil is firmed in from the outside in. So I'm firming it into that before I press down on that, if that makes sense. So they've got summit, they are nice and solid and upright. Right, them all in there, so they're all going diagonally, if that makes sense. They shouldn't interfere with anything else. So I've got my extra long canes again, these 2 foot, 2.5 foot, the green sticks, then I've got spare clips. So them are going in, so there's the clips there was originally, once this big one is in there, then that little one will come off and the smaller clips, and these will take over, as we have done there. Also what I like using are these, I had these from Malvern about 20 odd years ago, but I like using these for the onions as well, because I'm never going to grow an onion bigger than that size in the bottom, and eventually this will take over from those canes that are in there, and that's all I'll need, that frame in the end. So there they are. The frames are in all level, upright, so they'll look after that. Next thing, top dress, giving them a mulch. This is rabbit muck, don't forget, with straw. Once that is in, then I give it a good soaking. If I was to wear to that, it might wash up a bit away the compost or whatever. If I straw it first and then wash it, it just the straw itself takes the pressure of the water, so it keeps it nice and clear on the side. Plus, I watered all the straw, so I mulched a lot with water. Help it out. Obviously, I'll run out of water, so I have to fill it up with tap water, and that is left for 48 hours before I use it. Also, during the summer days, you see I've still got my cool glass on. I also water down. If you look back on that one, I've watered down the pathway there and the side of these walls, and I've also watered down the greenhouse just to keep it nice and cool. These are nice and straight now. Every other day I have a look at these, and it's surprising how much they do put weight on, so just help them out. Fans going around 10 to the dozen. Right, blanch leeks at the back, intermediates at the front. Don't forget, these are 10-inch collars. That's what they will stay on. The collars on the blanch leeks, they will get moved up. See where the blanch, that's what the blanch does. Keeps this nice and white. As you can see there, it's turned that a different colour. So I'm taking them all off. I'm taking the old flags off if there's any on that need to come off. Right, these two, because I've got my pipe tubing and the 2 bits of Velcro at the top. As you can see now, it started opening up because the meat was in the middle. So I'm getting another bit of Velcro in the middle just to keep that closed, because I don't want a green mark on it. I know it's another 2 months yet away for the show, but that's how I'll look after them. So they're all sorted out, clean, and probably next week or the week after, these will get extended, the back ones with the branch leeks have a longer length. Third speaker tonight, Nigel. If you can unmute yourself, sir, and all ready for us.
Okay, right away.
Good man.
Right, this first one here was taken probably about 3 weeks ago. We still haven't quite a lot of rain, and I was in a rush to get a lot of mixed stuff out because the following week we was down off to Cornwall. So rather than leave it lying in the greenhouse and rely on someone to do the watering, I thought I'd do my best to get them out. So this is these onions there are what I've grown from seed and then ready for planting out. Okay, Mick. That's the next one planted out. I've planted the 2 beds out, about 8 foot by 6 each one. And in there I've got Kelsey's, there's Robinson's Mammoth Red. Then I've got some of the banana shallots, the Zabroon, and also the red version they call Long Red Florence. A couple of weeks before I planted out, I top dressed the bed with superphosphate, and that had a good washing in because we did have a lot of rain, and so the onions went in quite easily because the soil was nice and moist, and that was it. Next, that's where we went to, is down in Cornwall. That there is called St Michael's Mount, and when the tide goes out you can actually walk across a causeway to it. It's owned by the National Trust, but it's got a fantastic garden on there with a lovely microclimate. So it's only about 30 miles away from like Tresco on the Scilly Isle, so it does get, we grow some amazing plants on there. But it is worth a visit. I did take my drone with me, and I got up about, I think it's about 5:30, 5:45, went down on the beach and took it up. That's taken from about 350 feet, that is. And I didn't fly it over the island because they get a bit touchy about it because it's like protected property. But if you look on the left, leading to the left-hand corner, that there is the footpath. As I say, when the tide goes out, you can actually walk right the way across to there. I think there's about 20 odd people actually live on the island, and obviously when the tide's in, they need to use the boat and come across to the shore by that way. But yeah, very nice there.
Good photo, though.
While I was around there, we were staying in the place called Marazion, right opposite the mount, which is about 3 miles from Penzance, stopping in a caravan site, and they've got all these stone walls, and in these stone walls, these plants are growing. They've got a very, very fleshy leaf. Does anyone know what they are? It was like growing like a weed.
Aren't they lesser-branthiums? Is that what they call them, or no? I'm not sure.
I've no idea what they are. Beautiful flowers.
They do look like that, yeah.
Mm.
Okay, next one. Okay, back home into the garden. After a few days of weeding, there's a lot of flowers that come out because the weather had started to warm up then, and that's just a couple of my irises where had come up. And also in there, I love alliums, and I tend to grow, just dot them around the garden. This is in the back garden, and that's a classical one. Also, I'll grow the large poppies as well. That's another thing I like. I've probably got too many, but they seem to. What I do with these, once they're flowered, I just run the shears right the way across to about an inch from the ground, and they throw up more foliage, and sometimes I'll get a second flush of flowers later on in the year. Part of the things I grow on my allotment and all, save all greenery, I do grow some plants, flowers to dot around there, and most years I tend to grow cosmos, which once you've planted it, it will look after itself, but they have got some lovely coloured and shaped flowers. Next, and that's another one of the flowers that's come up. So these were still in 3-inch pots, and there's loads of flowers on. Really, it was a bit cruel as root bound. I was late getting them out, but in the end I did get them out. Next, that's another plant I grow quite, the drumstick primula. They seem to like look after themselves, seed themselves. I've got them growing where I don't know I've got them growing, and they just like pop up out. It must be the birds who actually distribute the seeds, but they do come up nice. Then they'll grow probably 2 foot high, they will.
Have these got flowers coming out of the stem all the way down?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I've never seen them before.
They're called drumstick primulas.
Oh. Different.
That's me getting ready to plant the cosmos out. As you can see, most of them already in flower, but I was pushed for time, so I had to hang them back till I come back from holiday and put them out. That's the flower bed planted out. You'll see the structure a bit later on, but in there I've got a mixture of cosmos, there's African marigolds, some zinnias, dahlias, and what else is there? I've got a couple of teddy bear sunflowers to go in as well. I like to grow them because it does attract the insects and that. That's my carrot tanks. I grow them there are just loft store water tanks out of the loft, what I got for the old central heating. I use 6 tanks altogether. There's 4 there, and I've just sown the last 2 a couple of days ago. Them are ready for thinning out now on the left, and all of those are sweet candle. That's my celery ready to go out. The variety is called Latham Self-Blanching. I don't bother with the trenching stuff. I just grow that. I always plant them very, very close to each other and find that they'll just muscle in on each other and they blanch quite well. And I tend to get a decent crop off them every year. There's one, normally I'll sow the seed in a 3-inch pot on top of vermiculite and just leave it. But somebody got in touch with me this year about germination of celery seed, and I did a trial on it. And what I did, you get a little, like a yogurt pot, fill it, put put ½ inch of water in, sprinkle some celery seeds, and put it in the fridge for about, I think it's about 12 hours, 15 hours. Well, I left mine in for a day completely. And what I did then, you prepare your pot or your tray, what you're going to sow the seed in. I did mine with vermiculite on top. Then just gently pour the water and the seed mixed on the surface of it. Now, I did this trial a week after I'd sown my normal celery. So my normal celery, I'll sow in a 3-inch pot with vermiculite on top. And I always put it inside a Ziploc bag to retain the moisture. Now, this stuff that I'd had in the fridge, I sprinkled it on top of the soil, and within a week it had caught up. 2 weeks, it had overtook the celery I'd started normally. So I'll be using that method of germinating seed in future.
Suzanne, got a question?
Yeah, is it too late to grow celery from seed to sow it?
I would say, yeah, because with this, I'll be harvesting this. It'll be, sometimes I've still got celery in the ground when the first frost comes.
Oh,
so
okay.
I tend to start mine off too late, really. I could do with doing it
earlier. Because I've tried it before and never had much success.
Yeah.
So because you said put them close together might help, I thought maybe I'd try it. Maybe next year.
So also look for a self-blanching variety. That one's called Latham.
That's one I've got. Yeah, I don't want anything too finicky.
Yeah.
I'm not putting any cardboard around it or anything. Okay, all right, thank you.
Dave?
Nigel, do you know that way of germinating?
Yeah.
In the fridge? Are you going to put it on your side?
I did a trial. It's in one of my videos already. I put the plants side by side and you can see the growth difference. I'll find the what's it and I'll let you know. I'll put a link. I'll put it in the chat a bit later on. I'll have a look on the website and tell you what episode it's in.
Cheers, Nigel.
Okay. Next one, Mick. And that's the celery planted out, and say I really give it a good drenching. It's puddled in. The way I prepare my celery bed, I usually do it about 2 foot wide and about 18 inches deep. And I dig a trench out like that and I line it with cow manure. And I must put a good 9 inches of cow manure, then I put the soil back on the top. Then I just plant the celery through then, puddle the plants in, and I don't feed them at all. And in the past, when we've had real warm spells, the soil's cracked. The celery's always got moisture. That cow manure is amazing for retaining the moisture. Next. That there is my Brassica bed. I've got a list of it of what I've got in there. Right. Each one of them beds, you can see there's 3 beds, them 8 foot by 6 foot. So it's 18 foot long and 8 foot wide. In the top left, right along the very back row of all 3 beds, there's 5 Brussels sprouts, and the variety there is Crispus, which is a club root resistant variety. Right along the back of each row is 5. I'll plant them along the back because they grow the tallest, so they don't block any light off the other plants. Then in the top left bed, I've got 10 cauliflowers, which are Clapton, them are the club root resistant variety. Then I've got 15 all year round. In the middle bed, I've got 20 Celery. The variety again is Iron Man. I tend to grow that every year. It's a really good cropper. And say once you've took the main floret out, it does throw a lot of small ones out the side. It'll crop quite a number of times. But I've done a staggered sowing of that. So I probably, once I've took the florets off them, I'll rip them out and put the fresh plants in. And at the front of that bed there, right at the very front, that's it there. Them are, what we got there, there's 5 kohlrabi. It's a green variety called Cossack. Then moving into the end bed, nearest us, you've got this is the cabbage. There's 5 golden acre, 5 greyhound, and 5 kiloton. And a little bit, just down a bit more, we've got some Celery. I was short for space, so I've rammed these in a bit too tight. And that's a variety called Asterix. And right at the very front, another kohlrabi again. This is a purple one, and it's called Bowel or Balos without teeth. Let me structure the frame for the brassicas. the vertical bars going up in the air, them are what they call line pins or lamp pins. They use them on road construction, you might see them. That's it, yeah. Unfortunately by us, the first lot I ever bought, I bought on Amazon, and they were no bigger than a safety pin, and you put them in some hard ground and they bent them. But fortunately for me, there's a company in Cowsley who actually makes them, and they send them all over the world. And they're miles cheaper than buying on Amazon. And say, because I live by, I can go in the car and pick them up, and they do them in all different sizes, all different diameters. So them are the uprights. The horizontal bars going across the rails, them there are, it's electrical conduit pipe, what they use for, you might see them inside the factory or somewhere, they run the wires down. And that's galvanised to have it dough rust. And the bars going across, the ridge bars going across underneath the netting, it's upturned down, old guttering, PVC guttering. And I put that on because it does snag the nets. And then when the net hangs down, I bought some bungee cord. I bought a roll of it, and I make my own bungees up and just put screws in the end of the board and stretch a bungee down the length of the bed, and it keeps the net nice and taut down the side.
Nick, got your hand up, mate. Got a question?
Yeah, the kohlrabi.
Yeah, mate.
I grew them last year. I think I messed up. I've only grown them once, although twice now this year.
Yeah.
I grew them, put them in the spring, and they produced okay. But I read a lot of people that put them in sort of, is the ones you put in, is that now June time? Because that's what I've done. I'm bringing them on into the pot, sort of 7-9 centimetre pots, and putting them into the bed where the onions and garlic come out. Is that similar to what you do?
Yeah, they've been in the bed there now about 10 days.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. And when do you think you'll harvest them? Sort of September?
September-ish, yeah.
Yeah. And will you have anything in that bed afterwards, or not bother?
Normally I would, but what I'm going to do this year, all my beds are made out of builder's planks, and I'm another one which followed Mick's advice and covered the planks with plastic, but I never did. I've got about 6 years out of these, and them starting to rot. You can actually see it in that the board, bottom left-hand corner. I've had to put a little blank on to join the two pieces of wood. But a mate of mine who's got a fairly big garden, he had it landscaped, and I've had all the slabs off him. So what I'm going to do, I'm replacing all my wooden raised beds with upturned slabs on the side. So them will last longer than I will.
It's interesting you should say that, because sort of the polytunnel growing area I've got, I put in all beds with wooden sides, and I'm thinking about ripping the lot up next year. Although they've only been down 2 years, all free wood, it didn't cost me anything. It's just for the matter of slugs, and I read and I see other people that just don't bother with wooden sides. Do you think that's a problem?
I mean, I've been down Mick's a few times, and he's got raised beds, which has been their youngest, and he's covered them in plastic. And for me, if I was doing it from scratch again, I'd definitely do like that, wooden, but I'd definitely cover them with the black Arctic plastic, because it does keep them thingy. I've got about 5 or 6 years out of them, which I can't moan at really. But
No.
Because these slabs have come at the right time and free, I'm going to be putting them up side on. They'll be slightly higher than the boards, which means I can increase the depth of soil, and they won't actually rot. I went on a visit to a mate's plot in Shard End in Birmingham, and they'd got some there, but what the clever idea they've done, because the only thing what's not bothered me about using slabs on the end is the pressure of the soil pushing them out. You might get them come out of the line. But what a clever bloke had done there, he'd done exactly the same, but he got some, instead of using the half guttering, he'd got black drain pipe. And what he'd done, he'd run down the length of the drain pipe with a circular saw, put a cut in, then he'd put another cut in and left the gap about 1 inch wide. Then what he did, he put it over the edges of the slabs, so it acted like a massive bulldog clip along the length of the old slabs. And he said the don't budge at all.
My last question is on the kohlrabi. I grew them last year and I gave a few away and I ate a couple and I thought, not quite so sure about that.
I love them grated in salad.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nigel.
No problem. Next one, Mick. Right, there's my peas I'll put out. That variety is called Screen Shaft. And what I do, I grow them in gutters, create a little ridge, slide them in, and I just put a bit of chicken wire up them. That's 2-inch mesh chicken wire, and I just let them grow up there. I do have to cover the peas because there's a squadron of sparrows in the bottom of our garden, and they just, as soon as you put them out, them down and taking the tips out. So I do have to net the peas. Okay, Mick. These are my outdoor tomatoes. They went out last week, and that variety is called Crimson Crush. It's a blight-resistant variety. I've been growing these now for about 4 or 5 years, and we've got it a lot of times on our side with blight, especially in potatoes. And these, it's blight-resistant. They're not blight-free. You will get blight on there, but the fruits don't get affected. You still get the odd brown tinge spots on the leaves and also in the joint of the stem and the axle. But as long as I've been growing them, I've never had the fruits affected by blight. There's a few varieties out now. I did a trial 2 years ago, and there's a video up on my channel. I grew 3 varieties. There was Crimson Crush, Mountain Magic, and also one called Furline. And I grew 3 side by side, identical. And I did it for a taste test actually, and the Crimson Crush won. Okay. Now, when I put these tomatoes out, there was a bit drier than I wanted them to be actually. So I create all the algae with the ball planter. So what I do, I take the plant out of the pot, I submerge the old root ball into a bucket of water, only for about 10-20 seconds, get all the air bubbles out. Then what I do then, I sprinkle mycorrhizal onto the roots and it sticks straight away to the roots. And the mycorrhizal mew in there, it's Vitax Q4, made by it's more of a powder one than the normal granule one. And that thing I've got there is it's a sprinkler, what they use for posh coffees, where you sprinkle chocolate on the top. It's like a shaker. And I just put the mycorrhizal in there and shake it on like a pepper pot, and it does stick straight to the roots. And when you put it in the hole, and now the mycorrhizal surrounded is attached to the roots already. Okay, Mick. There's my runner beans. Now I grow all my beans, sweet corn when I grow them, and stuff like that in these made by that company, Hacksnicks. And as you can see, the development of the roots going down there, it does produce a good system. Plus, they come in plastic books. There's 4 in there, and you get 8 in a little framework. And when you take them out, you're not disturbing the roots, and straight in there. It does produce a good root system. The other thing I've been doing, I've been sowing a few veg ready for the sun's only just arrived, and I'm thinking about winter. Sowing a few brassicas there. There's 3 cabbages, Ormskirk, January King. Tundra, I grew that last year and I had an amazing crop of it. And I harvested the last one only probably about 5 weeks ago. It's a real solid head on it, and it's kept really well over the winter, not much pest damage either. And the other cauliflower, I'm grabbing 6 each of those Ormskirk, Tundra, January King. I'm growing 12 Triumphant cauliflower. Okay, Mick. Right, getting back onto the ices. What made me put this is when Ray did his talk last week about his ices. I've got 3 ices in my back garden, and these are over 30 years old. That's only the second pot, apart from the little, probably a 5-inch pot I bought them in. They've been in that pot for like 25 years. I've never ever done anything with them. I just dash a bit of, I actually put, what's the food in? I think I'll feed them with phosphorus. I think I've still got phosphorus. That's all I put in there. And they like flour, produce them lovely colours. This time of the year is beautiful. That one there is called, I think it's Shirasawanam or something like that. It is that variety. Okay, next one.
Nick, got a question, mate? Got your hand up?
Nick? Oh, he's still debating. Okay.
Sorry, that was the previous one. Forgot to put my hand down.
Okay. That there is another, that's Aester palmatum dissectum atropipurum. I think the variety might be called garnet. I'm not 100% sure, but that's again, all these are about 3 foot high. Next one, and that's my last one. And I'm not sure what the variety is that, but say these say about 30 years old, might be a bit older, and they just get abused and left out all winter. They'll wrap the pots up. What I do, I raise the pots off the floor, I put them up on I put 2 lengths of wood on bricks and just leave the pots off the ground, and so they look after themselves. And that's it, folks. Thank you.
Excellent, Nigel. Questions for him, if anybody's got any?
Yep, I've got a couple, please.
Good.
Right, I've written them down so I don't forget them. Right, when you was putting the mycorrhizal in that sifter thing that you had,
Yes.
is that the amount of mycorrhizal that you should be putting on?
No
the roots?
idea. No. What I do, I sprinkle it on like it's just like a pepper pot, and when I can see the roots change colour, I know the mic's attached to the roots, and that's it.
Because what I've been doing is when I'm repotting them, I'm putting them like a little hole where the where the original plant's gonna go, and then just sprinkling a little bit on the bottom. Is that enough?
Yeah, as long as it can make contact with the roots.
Yeah, because I thought the way I was thinking was the roots are going down, so they will get it.
Yeah. Only going in one direction, hopefully.
Well, exactly, hopefully. And also that Q4 that you said you've got, is it the Vitax one?
Vitax Q4 micro.
Yeah.
I think it's called Root Grow, I think it is.
Right, I just bought some of that Vitax one. It's in a box.
Yeah.
So, that's good. And there was one, them lampins you said.
Yes.
The upright. How do you spell that?
Lamp. L-I-M-P.
P.
P-I-N.
Yeah.
Lamp.
So it's lampins.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
If you give us a couple of minutes after when Mick's carried on, I'll one second. When Mick carries on, in the comments I'll put a link to the company website.
All right, lovely. Because I've got to put up a tent tunnel thing over my brassicas.
Yeah. If you Google Black Country Pins, that'll take you to the site.
I'll write that down.
Black Country Pins.
All right then, thank you.
No
Cheers,
problem.
Nigel.
You've got a question, mate?
I know. I see you buy your seed off David DT Brown's. I do likewise. And I noted you were only growing like 5 of this, 5 of that sort of thing on your brassicas.
Yeah.
What are you doing with the other 495 seeds in the packet?
Well, I'm one of these titans who that seed will last me 4 years.
Yeah. Good. There we go. I'm saving it.
Yes.
Nige?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about when you're building these beds with your slabs? What's your thoughts about depth of slab in proportion to height?
I'm using 2 foot squares.
Yeah.
And I'll probably be going down about 1 foot.
Oh, and you reckon that'll be okay?
Yeah, I reckon I could go down about 10 inches, 9 inches, 10 inches would be enough. Because I'm going to try that bulldog clip pipe method on the top of mine as well. See if
Could you just describe that method again? Because it didn't sink in properly with me.
If you a bit.
I can't see you even now. Where are you?
I'm on here. Can everybody see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I've got is thank you, Nigel, for your input.
No, he's down here.
You need to put the screens on.
Can you see me arrow?
Put the pictures on.
No.
It's on the right hand side of the screen.
What am I doing?
Go up the top corner, Collie, where it's got view.
View, yeah, standard.
Then you'll see some little squares as well.
1 below standard.
1 below standard. Side by side speaker.
Or side by side gallery.
Side by side gallery.
It's got you in that submarine call.
I'm still just getting thank you, Nigel, for your input.
No, it'll be in the little pictures of all the people. They're separate to that.
Yeah.
Can you see view at top, Colin?
Yes.
Well,
Click on that.
Click on that, and then go down side by side gallery.
Right, I have done.
And can you see people now?
No, I've got a column of people on the right, and I can.
Oh, well, there you go. That's your column of people.
That's where it is.
Scroll down there.
Yeah,
If you
you're up
scroll
and
down
down
there,
now.
you'll see Nigel.
Okay, I've got them all across the screen now. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Lara, can you see me now, Colin?
Like knitting jam.
Oh dear.
Use your left and right arrows now. It'll scroll through all the people on.
There you go. I've got you now. So if I pin you, that's
can you do a bit of paper there?
Wait a minute, mate.
Not coming up. No.
Right, it's okay. I've got your full screen, mate. Yeah.
So you imagine a drain pipe like that. I don't know if it'll show it. It won't show it, will it?
Isn't showing it.
No.
No.
What I'll do, I'll send it to Mick. I'll do a little sketch and send it to Mick and get him to show it next week.
Okay. Just talk us through it, though, please.
Imagine a long drain pipe, a down pipe from the roof of your house, what comes down.
Yeah.
So what you do then, you get a circular saw, and cut a slot along the length of
I'm with you. Sorry, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and then just open it out.
Well, what you do then, you cut another slot a bit narrow. So you say you got 1.5 inch slabs, you'd cut a slot about 1 inch wide in the pipe, then you'd actually stretch the pipe round and push it over the edges, and it acts like a bulldog clip right the way along the length of the slab.
Ingenious. Yeah.
Well, I saw it on somebody else's plot. It's not my idea.
All right. Okay. I understand that now. Thanks. Good.
Okay, Mick.
Nigel, cheers for that, mate.
Good night.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Thanks, Nigel.
Hey, Nigel, just a quickie. What were them plants where flowers were coming out at the stem?
Them are called drumstick primulas.
Okay, mate, cheers. I shall have some of them. There you go, mate. You'll be having some now.
Right, we've had a few red sky at nights, not lately, which we ain't had many of over the years, but this was a couple of days ago, out of our back window. Right, Friday, I rounded up the troops. This is Wilson Hall, where we used to have all our shows, meetings, committee meetings, general meetings, and with the show with the big hall. Because they've flogged the hall itself and the car park, we've had to get all that, half of the tabletops and trestles, which luckily my mate John's got a van. So all the tabletops went on the bottom, and then we got all the trestles on top of there. Also, while we was there, I had to take the sign off the front, and we got a new home for that. But we got to sorting them out. So this is a locker room down the Abbey Road allotments, and just for the time being, all the trestles have gone on top of the lockers. And the tabletops went in one of our metal containers. This is the hound with a slow eating tray. These are ideal if your dog gulps all his dinner down within 10 seconds, because he's a proper poultry. She loves a grub like me. But using these, it takes about 15 minutes instead of 3 minutes to eat that lot. And less burping, passing wind or whatever. Obviously good for the hound, but it does work. I might get one of them myself. Right, my bottom wooden structure on site. These need helping out again, doing a bit of weeding. And the first Celery is opening up, so I've given him a nice bit of feed. That's looking lengthways on, obviously through the netting. But most of the stuff now, I have put the top netting on. That stopped all the pigeons coming in, all the SAS pigeons, because I was nicking everything. back in the garden now that there's things opening up and putting a bit of colour on. And the yellow poppies are just coming through now. This is outside the back patio. But the yellow goes well with these. But getting a bit of colour. And hopefully now all the way through the year. Right, I've got on my calendar fruit trees. Top dressed with Epsom salts. Also, while I've got them out, the stuff in the greenhouse and the tunnels and my trenches at the top of the garden had a foliar feed tonight. So go down on me. This is my top orchard. There's a fruit tree. I've just got a fistful and I've sprinkled that around there, some salts. Every tree gets it. Of course, eat very well on there, but they have got it. That's the top orchard and the bottom orchard. This was my top structure, my wooden structure. When I was weeding outside, I heard a tweeting inside. When I come in, there's the little chap there. Young Bluetit. How the hell he got in, I do not know. Anyway, I let him out. When I was weeding, this is looking inside the tunnel again, up the side of the pathway before we raised bed. I heard another tweeting. And I had a look in again through the enviromesh. Should be able to make him out. And there was his brother or his sister, meaning two of them got in me structure. Obviously I've got my door on, so I've been down there for 2 days, so they've been in, well, might have been a day, 2 days. But how two of them got in together, God knows. But I did help them out. There's the second one. And I thought I got the mother, hers up here somewhere. I thought I got her in the photo, but it must be out of shot. It was on the end of that. So at least it has rounded them both up. And if you can imagine the end of that greenhouse, that's where my mate's got his Bluetit box, and that's where they come from. These two were for my mate down South Wales. They need going out, potting on. So Gaz came up and took them off my hands. And there's also a sprout which I'll give me mate, Mark, this afternoon. 26-1. I started him off in my propagator. And as soon as he come through, if I remember, once I've pricked out in a plastic drinking cup, then they go in the cold end of the greenhouse. So all I'm using the propagator for is to germinate. Once they are germinated and they put a bit of meat on in that plastic drinking cup, then I put them in the cold greenhouse. Obviously if they stayed in the warm greenhouse, that'd be a bit earlier. And my leeks, this is usually about now, first Thursday in June, when we have our bring a boy at our garden club. That means all this stuff, because I do about 6 of these for our bring a boy, and we auction these off. Pencil thickness, ready to be planted out, and exactly the same again. 26 of the first, Musselborough from Wilco. Cold greenhouse. Right, this was this afternoon. We'd had, as I mentioned before, we'd had rain all night, nice steady rain, and you can see in the leaves of these where the rain has been kept. So I got in close. I took about 5 photos before I got this one in focus, but it's just the colours and the, you know, just nature itself. I find it fascinating. And basil, I think Gaz, you can have a dollop of this. If anybody else lives local wants some or use it. If you remember them cubes I was dishing out, which I had a box of, that's what them 3 are. So them have come through and that still. And there's the photo took tonight of the front and the Alstrom area. Because of that protection, i.e. of the wall, them have start opened up, and these here. And there's one right up the corner, obviously behind this lot. he's opened up as well. But that's a nice bit of colour, and them pansies come back every year. Them are nice as well. And that's it, guys and gals. Keith, while I've got hold of you here, give us a talk tonight. Do you fancy doing that talk again next week so we can have it without interference? I mean, it's up to you.
Yes, please, Keith.
Yeah, I'll try and do the same. I'll try and send you some other pictures as well, Mick. Some more
brilliant.
up-to-date ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Keith.
So I can't say yes without asking. That is
Yeah.
it. I mean, you might be on bloody holiday or something.
No, I've had my holiday this year, mate.
Good man.
Holiday? What's that?
Right, hope you've all enjoyed it, people. Thanks to my speakers. Hopefully, I want to see if I can find out next week how to mute everybody. There's nothing on here where I can do it. And even Aaron, my son, he come up. And my laptop, everybody, I don't know. Different laptops have different methods. And there's nothing on here where I can mute everybody. So I ain't got a clue. But I should try for next week to sort it out.
Did you get your computer from Wilco's?
Amazon.
Check your messages, Mick. I've sent a thing over how to do it.
Have you? Good man.
Yeah.
Boston,
Check it on your messages.
Just about to say you can do it.
Because I know we've had it on here, and I think Colin, you've mentioned it. If there is background, it comes up. It lights something up on the
Yeah. But if you go down the bottom to participants as you're running the show, you'll have an extra comment on there that we haven't got, where you click a box and turn everybody off.
New talking.
You should have somewhere. You see where it says? I'm guessing it's on participants, or you got another one where we've just got a single mute. You can probably press a button and turn everybody off. All right, but the instructions are on your messenger anyway.
I'll have a perv.
Okay.
Come on, get rid of them, mate.
Has anybody got any questions on anything we've been covering tonight?
Yeah, what was that round your end round your beans? You got round your fruit trees, like a blue thing.
Just to stop little chaps climbing up. Them sticky tapes.
One for ants then.
Well, he stops them as well.
I just wondered.
Yeah, he stops any little. Well, there's loads of things, isn't there? Earwigs, ants.
I don't know. I use Vaseline for ants.
Where you use Epsom salts as a drench, when I mix it all with compost in a cement mixer, I throw a couple of apples in there just for good luck.
Oh.
Keeps taters down.
Steve, how come you got no picture on?
Because computer blew up camera,
Oh.
and I'm waiting for him to get either a new computer or a new camera. Why, do you miss me, Paul?
Yeah.
You got a bit of a spot for me?
What side are you on tonight, Paul?
Oh, Rattler.
Rattler? Oh, all right.
Rattler.
A few points of that last week, Paul.
Oh, don't blame you. I've got
Paul, what
one.
was that last week?
Desperados. No,
Hey,
I did Desperados. That was nice. That's it. Nice.
Yeah, I drink Stella and lime, so I'm going to give it a try.
I sell it in Lidl. Tequila. Yeah, in bottles.
We ain't got no Lidls up here. We're not peasants.
Oh, yeah,
We're-
posh, yeah.
We're
Morris
rich
Go
people.
sell it.
Or White Rose probably by you.
Oh, wait, Rose, yeah, I'm going there.
In posh, yeah. They'll have it in here.
Colin, why have you got in a submarine?
I did.
I thought you nodded off then. Why do you sound like you're in a submarine?
I don't know. I was saying.
He's in his van, isn't he? His Amazon van.
I don't know. Does everybody get distorted when I speak? Because
No, you sound all
I
right.
think you sound fine.
Okay,
I thought it was just your accent.
I don't know. Everything seems to be working from this
Cheers,
end.
Nigel.
Hey, Colin, you're tagged in the post in the pub again in the week. I spotted.
Yes, I was. I was tempted over. That's why I wasn't on last Sunday. And then on Thursday I had severe depression because I had to go over again. I was trimming my hedge. I got a hedge cutter, like, you know.
Too much information there, Colin.
I finished up. I come in and I tried to go online and make a phone call and nothing.
Yeah, Brazilian.
I spent 3 hours that night converging, rebooting my router.
Wasted, it's wasted.
And then I woke up about 4:30 the following morning and thought, well, the cable comes through where I've been cutting the edge. So I got up, and lo and behold, what they'd done, I'd only had it installed last year. They'd put through the hedge from the path, and the first 4 foot, they'd just laid the cable under some shrubs before burying it under the lawn. And of course, I've gone with my edge cutter and trimmed.
Oh dear.
Oh, blimey.
All right, I'm off. I'll see you next week. Cheers.
See you, Nick.
Cheers, Nick.
So
Colin,
I was that traumatised, I had to go down the pub.
You need a petrol one. You don't get that problem with petrol.
He can't have petrol, he'll drink it.
Thanks, Vic.
No.
Cheers, Andy.
You misunderstood me. It
Cheers,
wasn't the cable for the clipper, it was the cable for the internet.
Oh, you cut that, did you? Oh, shit. Oh, dear.
See you, folks.
Just
See ya.
See you next week.
See you, Austin.
See you, fellas. See you, lads.
Cheers, mate.
See ya.
sit round to mix and use his electric.
Yeah.
How's them chilies coming in, Colin?
They're all right, yes.
All
They're all right. They're looking all
Any
right.
flowers on them?
I'll send a picture. Eh?
Oh, flowers on them?
Yes, the flowers in
Good.
fruit. That I've got some forming.
Good.
You give me a couple of photos for next week.
Send you, yeah. They're looking very healthy.
Mine are booming, Mo.
Touch wood.
And
The rest in.
what's
Put the rest.
that you got?
I'll put the rest
How,
in.
how long have you had sheep in front room?
Sheep.
Oh,
It's a
dear.
Bichon freeze. I
It's
went
a
to an
what?
haircut.
Who's
Haircut.
A Bichon.
A Bichon freeze.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
it was
it.
Brian May.
You're Steve.
I thought it was Brian May.
Yeah, so it needs a shave, doesn't it?
Yeah, needs an haircut.
I've
Oh,
got
do-
I've got
I've got some-
Shih Tzus here.
And they can't do it.
Got some clippers, Andrew.
I know, I've seen the stage here, eh? I know to use them.
That bowl's a bit of good, Mick.
That what?
Bowl. Non-salvaging bowl for dogs.
There more. Guys,
I'm
you
gonna
think
get
don't
off,
pick
lads.
down
I'm
to do
going
anymore.
to water my baskets and have a
Oh.
Gonna have the bob.
for it to get
I'll
He's
go
off
straight
to
to
the-
the greenhouse in a minute.
Yeah, I've
Cheers,
got
Colin.
to do the same.
See you next week.
I think
Ta-ra.
the sausage,
To the puppy.
Yeah, I'm
I
off
think
now.
the sausage man's
Oh.
arriving.
See you soon.
See you
Bye.
all then,
See you all.
people.
Bye.
See you all next week.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.